Hi, folks, and welcome to another episode of Careers and Coffee. I'm really excited to bring on Liam Mackinder this afternoon, who is from Haven Power, and anything community outreach, schools, colleges, anything like that, that is Liam's remit, and also sort of coordinating some of the charity work that Haven Power do as well. But he's best to tell you about all of the fantastic stuff that he does and that Haven Power is doing as well. So I'm going to bring on Liam to talk a little bit more about his role. Liam,
Hello.
How you doing?
And not too bad yourself?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I wish I was outside and then, just generally outside. Maybe in a beer garden would be quite nice.
Don't worry, I've already got my barbecue ready for later. So as soon as I finish work, I'm sparking the barbecue up.
I was going to say 4:59, 5 done. Get out
Absolutely.
there.
You know it.
I do not blame you. That sounds like that definitely sounds like a good plan. But how's things been going with lockdown? You keeping productive at home? How's it been?
Yeah, it's been difficult in some parts, but getting used to it now. So 3 months in, I think it's just the working arrangements. Obviously, having a 3-year-old running around the house, trying to find a quiet place to work can be difficult. But yeah, the rest of it's fine. And we're just trying to find new ways of working, really, with the team, with our businesses. Obviously, with my role, I'm usually out and about quite a lot. So kind of being confined is a bit different.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely feeling that at the moment because, again, with my role, I think most of my day is it would be weird to be in the office for a full day without being out and about in meetings and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, it's an odd one, but like yourself, I think we're all sort of soldiering through at the minute. But tell me a little bit more about you and Haven Power. So what does Haven Power do and what do you do there?
Yeah, so Haven Power. So Haven Power is a renewable energy provider. So we're based in Ipswich. We're on Ransomed Europark, so not too far, just on the outskirts of Ipswich, really. And yeah, we sell electricity to businesses and businesses only. So that can be from small and medium sized businesses all the way up to your big commercial businesses. So things like football clubs, airports, water companies, anything like that, we supply all the way down to places like hairdressers and places from there. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty impressive stuff. And yeah, what's it like working at Haven Power? Because I will come on to some of our partnership working in a bit, but from what I've seen, I think it's a pretty good place to work. What's it like?
Yeah, it's very lively, which is why it's weird working from home with no one around. So as soon as you walk into the office, you've always got kind of a noise barrier hit you. There's people smiling, laughing. There's 450 of us in the office alone over 2 floors. So it doesn't matter where you go and walk to, there's always someone there. And yeah, it's just a really good atmosphere to be around. So I obviously say working from home is a bit difficult because it's a lot quieter. You don't get that same thing. Yes, you can use Microsoft Teams or Zoom or stuff just to make sure obviously you can keep connected, but it's just not that same vibe. But yeah, it's a really lively place to work.
No, that sounds really good. And I've been in the office, and you are right. It's sort of like a supersonic noise barrier which you just sort of walk through. But I think it's good, and also I've noticed there's quite a lot of young people working there as well. So good progression and support for young people who want to take up roles at Haven as well, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started there when I was 22, 23. So I moved down from the north, and
so about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I wish, right? Thanks for that. But more 9 years ago, but I'll take that. But yeah, we have, especially in our customer service roles and other roles around the businesses, a lot. I think the average age, you must say, is early 20s for that type of role in that type of area, and it is because it's the type of environment. So it is really team working. It's all about being together, and it's making targets as a team. Obviously, you have individual customers you look after, or certain bits, but again, it's moving to that team base. You're all doing it together to get to a certain point. So having a bit of competition within the teams is always good. Team by team competitions is massive, and so I think that's why a lot of youngsters come, because it attracts to that type of work, really, in that environment.
Brilliant. No, and why is the energy sector so important as well?
So some might know, but in the east of England, the energy sector is massive, especially renewable energy and clean energy. So
what is renewable energy and clean energy?
Yeah.
I'm sure you're probably going to come on to it.
No, that's fine. So that can be anything. So you obviously have wind and solar power. Sorry. We use something called biomass. So it's a low carbon energy, which is kind of like little wood pellets. And there's all sorts of different ones. It's getting away from stuff like coal, which is a fossil fuel and is bad emissions for obviously quite onto the atmosphere. So as people are talking about within this lockdown, obviously less cars on the road, lots of things been going on, is a lot less pollution. So as to a clean energy, that takes up that pollution anyways, it's dropping. So it's good for the environment, and it's becoming a bigger thing. We went I think it was last year was the first few days we went without using coal on our system in the UK. And obviously during the lockdown, we've done that more frequently, which is brilliant. And so using things like wind and solar and biomass and gas, and there's all sorts of other things that is really helping to, make it much better for ourselves and, cut down emissions.
That's fantastic. And I know, you're a huge ambassador for sort of clean energy, electric, because whenever I usually see you, you're whizzing around in a very fancy electric BMW. So I think Haven Power is definitely repping the electric cars on that one.
And it's just say with the cars, we have one BMW i3, which is our electric vehicle. But we also have 4 charging points at work, and we're encouraging our staff to buy electric cars and also use the charging points. So we let them use the charging points for free, so they can obviously top up for free, which is brilliant. And we're really starting to build our portfolio of cars. Really, we're trying to buy some more, so that when we travel between offices, we do it in a car which is electric. Saves a lot on the pollution and fuel.
I mean, I think that's fantastic. Can you let my boss know that I'd quite like an i3? So they're on next week. Okay, so we've got a question in. So, do you have apprenticeship routes into the organisation? If so, for what roles?
Yeah, so it's been starting. Apprenticeships have really just started off. So we had apprenticeships in our reception teams was to start with, and we're looking to move it more into our customer service and build it across our business. So we've literally just gone through over the last couple of months of restructuring our business to try and to build a new apprenticeship program, and that will be hopefully within the next maybe 6 months. That'll be coming live, and there'll be a lot more opportunities to really spread out across our business. Because it's the one thing we've been doing is, as a company of Haven Power, we've partnered up with other businesses and brought them into our group, and it's now about having that consistent way of working and giving opportunities to apprenticeship at every level of role. Something we've not done before. So yes, there will be. It's just taking a little bit of time to set up, but yeah, we'll get there.
Brilliant. And I mean, before we go on to some of the, actually, okay, let's tackle that one because this is an apprenticeship. So, what level of apprenticeships are available?
As far as I know, it's just the standard start-off apprenticeship. I'm not sure what level that is, but yeah, there'll be more ones to come on. We're also opening up apprenticeships to our staff currently, so you can take an apprenticeship as a colleague and go for. I'm sure someone was doing a level 5 the other day when I was speaking to someone at our business. Can't remember what in, but yeah, so we're opening it up. But so once our apprenticeship kind of program comes fully, then we'll be able to share that.
Fantastic, thank you for that. And now I'm going to sort of turn the spotlight on Liam. So when you're at school, what was your pathway afterwards? What did you do when you left?
So I think people realise that I have the most random type of career, I think. So I left school, so I'm 31 now, so I only left school 15, 16 years ago. So my first job was I was a butcher. Okay. And then my next job, I was a baker. Yes, not quite a candlestick maker next, but not far off. So the butcher was while I was at college. I was doing part-time work, and then I was a baker while I was at university. And then I moved down to Ipswich and then got a job at Toys R Us. Obviously not there anymore, but that's where I worked for 6 months over Christmas period, which was manic and fun at the same time. And then so I got a job with Haven Power, where I've now been for 8.5 years. So yeah, completely varied. But my job, what I wanted to do when I was at school, was to be a forensic scientist. And that's what I wanted to go to college to do. So it's a completely different mix. And I was like, yes, that's where I want to be. But yeah, got into my first day of college, and for some reason the application was a bit messed up, and they put me onto media production. So it was slightly different to what I wanted. But I'll give it a go. And funny enough, that's where I've kept going. So I then went to university after that and did a media production degree. Passed that, got my bachelor's in that, and then moved on. So I still kind of do some work outside. So that's filming, photography, radio, all sorts really. So quite a varied way.
I was just going to say that is seriously varied. I mean, so what do we get? We've got butcher, baker, Toys R Us, Haven. I mean, across all of them jobs, what are some of the skills that you need? But because I'm sure there'll be some skills that you have across whether it be a butcher or baker or Haven. So what are some of them skills?
I think that's the main thing. So when you're going for a job, I've always been put off of I don't have the qualifications for it, or I can't get that because I've never done it before. So obviously standing in a butcher, I thought there's no relevance anywhere to a job you can get. Put your meat in a shop and you're selling it. What do you get from that? But it is about the communication. It is about building them relationships and rapport with customers and people, and is that friendly face, which then got me into bakery when I was at university. Then when I got into Toys R Us again, it was interacting. It was just showing them type of life skills really, and just being able to communicate with people and having that open bit. And then also when I went to Haven Power, that was a bit different because I've always said I'll never work in an office. I thought the office environment's never good for me. And I thought I need a job, so we'll go along. And it was for customer service advisor. So I thought, never done it, let's give it a try. And again, what they employed me on we had kind of a whole day worth of interviews and team kind of development skills together to see who would fit in with the business. And from that, they realized and said, you can communicate, you can work as a team. And that's the type of person that wanted at the time. So myself with 8 others was employed, and so I've been there ever since, and just moved away from the company through various roles as well.
That's fantastic. I think you've probably answered that question below then, in which case I think just with that. But no, I think that's really it. So if you're a baker, because I've known you for a while now, I've never actually, I've sort of assumed you would have turned up to some of the meetings that we have with some great baked goods. Now that I know this, so I can guarantee next Cornerstone board meeting I'll be expecting sort of a plethora of almost like a buffet.
I'll give you a bit of an inkling of what happens in the bakery. So they bring the stuff in from the warehouse and you just put it in the oven. So I didn't have to actually bake anything. So apart from making sure it wasn't overcooked or undercooked.
You crush my dreams.
So, but I can make some nice sausage rolls and bread myself. So that I'll promise you one of them.
Done. I'll definitely hold you to that. Right. Next question. So how did you having a degree in media help you with your current role?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I touched on my current role. I know you mentioned it in the briefing. So my current role now, so I do community and charity engagement. So that's obviously working a lot with charities and schools, helping with fundraising, and there's all different types of bits in that. But with my degree, it kind of helps because same degree I did photography, I did anything from filming, I did anything to do with writing up documents and stuff like that as well, which kind of helps. So what I do with the charities, or what I do with help getting bids in to get funding for charities, or working with schools, I think that's where my skills have come from, because I can still offer support for photography, for filming. I'm actually I work with another charity. I'm I can't remember what the word is for it now. A trustee, that's it. That's what I meant. A trustee for one of the charities, and that is all about stuff to do with making our presence more in the media. So how can we put things online? How can we get the pictures and that stuff?
Yeah.
So it might not be directly involved with what I do specifically at Haven in my role. So I used to do internal communications at Haven as well, which was very much the role of what I did at university. So that was more talking about getting our people to understand business change and creating videos and all sorts. But then that's kind of got me into the community role, which I still use, because when you're out and about in the community, we want to show our staff, our colleagues, but also the general public, what we've done and what we've been doing to help schools and support them. So that's where I really come in. Take me on pictures, get in the media every now and then to try and really lift it, but also to try and encourage other businesses to be part of it as well.
Brilliant. No, thanks for that. And I mean, you come across as such a confident, really communicative guy. I mean, did you have a role model growing up that sort of shaped sort of who you are now?
I don't know. This is an interesting one. So you might not believe it. My wife is always shocked to realise, but when I was at high school, I was the quietest person you could think about. I was so quiet, wouldn't say boo to a goose. I'd hide away, whatever else. And I think it changed when I went to college. I was able to kind of be myself really, and you meet new people, and you just think, right, this is my time. I need to make a difference in my own life and do it. So got talking. That communication I found was really key important, and it's just built up since then. So now when I see people, I can do networking. I've thrown myself into the deep end with a lot of things. Joined in volunteering for stuff, online forums or whatever else, just to really try and knock down some of that kind of awkwardness I thought was meeting a person for the first time. And now I think people just say you can't shut him up. So I might have gone too far the other way, but yeah, it's different. It's good.
No, that's brilliant. And you know, I think we've sort of skirted around the edges of community engagement, schools, charity, those sorts of things that you folks do. But now I want to talk a little bit more about it. So give me a flavour about some of the stuff that you've been doing in the community and with schools that you're really proud of.
Cool. So I'll start where it all began, really. So I think what paved the way for me to get the job I'm doing now, and for Haven to really look at the work we do in the community, is in 2016 was our 10-year anniversary at Haven Power. So it was just like open 10 years, big employer in the local area, but was not doing anything for community or outreach. So I got a question given to me from one of our directors at the time saying, could we come up with a volunteering program or something we can do to get in the community? So I went out, looked for a charity, and there's a charity called Brickmakers Wood, or Eden Ross Coppice Trust, but it's Brickmakers Wood, which is right next to university in Ipswich Town Centre. And it's a little land is part of Alexandra Park, and it's part of the woodland. And basically they took over the site in 2015, late 2015. And then in 2016, we volunteered to go down there and help them clear out the woodland. So it was used for stuff like drugs, prostitution, anything you could think of that was a bit unsavory kind of happened down there. So we send a team of 10 volunteers each month to do anything from clearing areas to the fallen down trees, to chopping them up using the wood, making allotment space. And it's going to be used for people with cancer, so they can go and sit there with the families, use it free, spend time together. Well, they use it for education as well. So some of the schools where maybe they can't get out so much, or people might be suspended, we get them to come in here to learn the skills in the woodland. So we can do things in a workshop, and they can build items. And what we do is we then get them to sell the items to then raise money for the charity. So they're learning new skills, they learn new woodworking or working together. Then they can really sell that and put it into the business and show them how to keep it sustainable, really. So that was the first thing we did, and that was successful, which was great. We won an award for it in 2018 for the best community project. So that was really nice. It was in London for a fancy award ceremony. So that was really nice.
Nice thank you dues always good.
Absolutely. And then we moved on to, right, okay, what more could we do? So it's been great we can volunteer for charities, and we've kept that up, so we still do that now. But what can we do with our schools? So for myself, particularly when I was in school up north, so I'm from Hull originally, and my school was particularly, as they call, a bad school, where they didn't get any support. We had maybe police unit on site every day. It was not a very kind of nice school to be around as such, but I think it was a reputation. It had a bad reputation for a reason that we didn't really know. I think it was just brought through the years. So we didn't get opportunities to do stuff like work experience, or go out and learn new things, or get people to come in. Yeah. So when I got given the task to work with schools, that's where we started looking, right, which schools in need the most. So it's a personal thing of what I've had and I've grew up with, but I wanted to give it back to them to say, you should have the same opportunities as anyone else. So yeah, made contact, found out that we could, obviously for you guys as well, to say what schools are in, what could we help the most? Who could really benefit by get an employee like ourselves to go in there and really give the skills. So yeah, that's where we've kind of gone to now. And yeah, the last 2 years we've been helping Ipswich Academy is our kind of joint school, as we say. We've partnered them. They're just on the doorstep of where our business is. So we've been doing a lot of work with them, but we've helped so many other schools across Ipswich and continuing to do that now.
Because you also did a fantastic year 6 day, didn't you? So I think it was like an enterprise day. Do you want to talk a little bit? Because I was involved and I think it was amazing. So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, as you say, we got together with Ipswich Academy to come up with a session. And what it was for year 6s who was going to then go to that school in year 7. And the whole point of that day was to come up with some ideas of t-shirt design, really. So you get into groups, you design a t-shirt, and then you've got basically do kind of like a Dragon's Den style pitch. And you talk about which in our t-shirt. I think he was on the panel, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
So you pick the t-shirts. What you do is just split the groups into, so you have someone in finance from your team, so looks after all the money, and purchases equipment for making your t-shirt. You have the designers who design a t-shirt. You have like a project manager who keeps the whole team working together. And it was all different people working as a group, and you all had to work together to create this t-shirt. And what it was is the winner of the t-shirt competition, once the panels decided, then got their t-shirts printed and made for them. And it was just kind of a little memento to say, here you go, and we're done. And that really went down. We did 3 morning sessions of it, and it went down really well.
I remember it was fantastic, and it was just being there. It was amazing. I think the most challenging bit was having to judge the winner to a load of year 6s. And you're like, oh, you want everybody to win. It's a nightmare. And also just to shine a spotlight. So on the screen we had Green Power Racing Car there, because for those who don't know, Green Power is a charity that basically enables students to have an insight into the engineering sector by building a racing car, pretty much, isn't it? And then they get to race them. And you folks have been beyond generous in supporting schools in Ipswich and also up and down the country with buying these cars.
Yeah. So to kind of make a partnership with a school, we went to Ipswich Academy and we said, we'd like to offer you this Green Power car. So the cars itself cost around £3,000. And we said to them, right, we'll give you a grant to buy the car, and we'll give you some extra money as well to be able to kit it up, get the tools you need for it. Yeah, and then just say the purpose of is to build a car, which is all battery powered, and you build it within teams, and then you can take it to a race event across England. There's lots of race events across England. So with Drax, our business, so it's Haven Power's parent company, we went to a race event last July, and it was we had 7 schools who participated, and they shut the streets off of Hull and raced over a day, and it was just amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I think that's fantastic. I mean, whenever I've seen that, because we had a tour around probably January, February time, I believe, and I remember seeing these things. I thought, I want to have a go. It's 6'3". It's a little bit more challenging to get in there, but I think it's going to be fantastic when all of the kids in Ipswich who put their heart and soul into these projects can then actually realise their talents. And I'm hoping all the students in Ipswich win that race. Right, so we've got a question in. So, how do you decide on what projects you are supporting?
Yeah, so we kind of break down what we're trying to do in community. So we've really, when we first started in 2016, it was what can we do to get out there? Whereas now we're getting a lot of requests, which is great, but we want to make sure that we're helping STEM, skills, and employability. They're the 3 areas. So that's how we really decide everything we're doing. So if it meets one of them criteria, and there's a few other bits as well that have been local, so if it's in or around Ipswich, we really want to spot our own as it is from there. And then from there, we can really decide, yes, could we put some resource towards that? As you say, we've got 450 colleagues. We have different members of staff who do different bits. And that's how we really pick the projects that are supporting us. So it's what's going to be the most benefit to our students, what's going to be the most benefit to us to be able to deliver as well. Because we don't want to deliver something that we've never done or we don't know what it is, because it's kind of you're blagging your way through. And we don't want to do that. We want to make sure it is being meaningful. So yeah, that's how we pick our projects.
Yeah, and you know, it helps when you've got the new Anglia Enterprise Adviser Network to support.
Absolutely.
That. So, I mean, in terms of some of the support that you've done, I mean, you do so much. You've also supported some students during COVID-19, and in particular, some students who are desperately in need of having some IT equipment, laptops, Wi-Fi, to carry on their studies. So, can you tell us a little bit more, just briefly, about that?
Yeah. So obviously this time has been difficult for a lot of people, and I think as soon as we all went into lockdown, we all got on a phone call. So as soon as just my job up in Selby and in Scotland, and we all got together and think, what can we do for our community? And yes, we could have started off doing online sessions and stuff like that, but we said the issue is a lot of students might not have access to get online. So it's easy enough to say these are online, so how can we do it? So basically, we got together, we got to our business, our XCOM team, our senior leaders, and said, we want to provide an X amount of laptops to students or schools. And that was really good and backed us and basically like tripled our offer. So we said, we can do this on the budget we have this year. We'll sacrifice our budget to give to students because we won't use that with current situation.
Yep.
And yeah, so it basically enabled us to give 853 laptops and prepaid internet to over 50 schools across the UK. So in Ipswich alone, we managed to give around 120 laptops to around 9 schools as well. So it's really helped, and the benefits and the people who have really come back to say thank you very much and kind of who really needed them has been brilliant in that support. And we've worked with the schools to say, you keep them laptops, you use them going forward. We don't want them back, they're a donation, and you can give them to them students full time, or you can use them as a resource when they get back to school. But we don't want their learning to suffer from no fault of their own or anyone's fault with COVID-19 going. So that was a way that we thought we could give something back to be able to get them to keep learning.
I think that's fantastic. And you know, I remember when we had the conversations around you know, where should these laptops be going? I just thought, wow, this is sort of a business that's going above and beyond. And as you know, as I said in the press release that went out on there as well, I can't remember my exact words, but it's wrong that students should be missing an education just because they don't have a laptop and Wi-Fi. It's just not right. And I think what Haven, what Drax, what I should add, Drax owns Haven Power. Where people will be like, who are they? I think it's absolutely astonishing. Another question. So how can businesses be encouraged to provide laptops with rural Suffolk and Norfolk schools that are facing social mobility issues? So, you know, what would be your guidance to businesses who are maybe considering this or have the resource to do it?
I think the thing for us is there's a couple of things. Obviously, the need. So speaking to the schools and saying, is there a real need? And I think our laptop for learners, as we've called, what we did is we specifically went to schools and said, do you need them? Not just getting numbers more because you think that it's good. Is which families do you really need them for? So it's identifying who they are. Once you've identified them, you can really then ask other businesses or people to really say, can we do donations? So for instance, we donated to 853. We also have a charitable committee. So basically any charity or any person can come to Haven or Drax and ask for a donation, which is about up to £500 for a charity, a school, something like that. So we had one of our employees who did the same. They have a rural school up in Northampton. So we have offices in Northampton as well. Yeah. And they're trying to raise money for tablets for home learning. So yeah, we donated another £500 to that school for them to be able to buy and obviously do that as well. But there's lots of other charities that you can go for grants as well and ask for grants to do this type of stuff. So just look around and see where they are from there. But yeah, we've got an overwhelming support from doing this. We had so many other schools coming back to us. And so the 853 laptops equate to around £250,000. So it just shows you the size of the donation from there. But yeah, if we get requests in and we can support them, that's what we're trying to do.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Now, we've not got long, well, 15 seconds left, but I'm happy to overrun. So, I mean, what's your advice, Liam, to a lot of young students and to anybody really in terms of debating their next pathway during this, which is it's challenging at the best of times, trying to navigate careers and further and higher education. What's your advice to them who are maybe thinking, "Oh my God, there's so much going on." What's your advice to them students?
Yeah, I think for me, I think it's reflection. It's a time of reflection. It's hard to know where you go. And if I was in their shoes right now, I think I'd be a bit panicked. What do I do? Where do you go?
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff that businesses are now providing online, work experience, for instance, or information on their sector. This is the time you can really do some research now to look onto that and really see if that area is good enough for you. So instead of going straight in to get a job in that area and thinking it's not quite right for me a year down the line and thinking I have to change, this is the time now you can do a bit of work experience online and finding the bit what you might be interested in. Go through contact us mailbox on websites and I'll see if you can speak to someone in recruitment or something like that and ask them what type of skills, what type of thing is on there, because I'm sure they'll let you talk to one of their colleagues about what type of things they do. And it's just encouraging. It's just thinking about yourself. Don't be put off with where you are. It's hard. Businesses are going through it as well, so they're not fully up and running, a lot of them, but they're there, and it's a new way of working. But have a look through, and yeah, there was something out there, and it's a good time for research, really.
And now I'm going to ask another question, a brief one. Why is it important that businesses do what you guys are doing?
Because you can't give up. You got to keep going, and the students who are coming through now are our future. And people say that all the time, and I've heard that plenty of times when I was at school, when the future is fine, but they really are. So over a third of our business must be people in early 20s. Absolutely. There's so many, and you're our future. Them skills are coming through. We can't give up. No one can give up from there. Yeah, and it's just got to help each other out.
That's a sound bite right there, isn't it? I love that. Thank you. And now, before you shoot, I will just also flag up that Haven / Drax Group have been doing some fabulous work around virtual tours of their power stations. So I think Selby, and there's one in Scotland. So basically, you don't have to do the torturous 8 to 9 hour journey to get to Scotland. You can do this in 5 minutes at home. Is it Crucken? Am I saying that?
It's Crucken. He was close.
I need to go back to school. So that students, careers leaders, schools can go online. It's a free resource. It gives a brilliant insight into STEM careers. There's a video on there. Just a huge shout out to say, go on there, have a look, send it to students if you've got kids at home. Really, really, really good resource there. Liam, thank you so much for your time today. It's really, really good to speak to you, both to learn about your own roles in everything from Toys R Us to a bakery to a butcher to now working at Haven Power, to see the fantastic work that Haven is doing, both outside of the coronavirus, but also in it, and that you can say, we're going through a pandemic, but we're still doing some fabulous work. So, yeah, hats off to you, and thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you for having me.
Good stuff. Cheers, Liam. Okay, folks, so that was Liam Mackinder from Haven Power talking about the energy sector and all the fantastic work that Haven / Drax Group have been doing, not only during the pandemic, but out of it, and doing some just brilliant work around supporting learners to get online and ensure they're accessing their education as well. So that was our last Careers and Coffee of this week. All of the information is in the description below, so you can go and stalk Liam on LinkedIn and contact him and Haven Power. We also have a survey, which if you can fill that in, it gives us more of an idea about the sort of content that you want to see on this channel as well. Next week, I'm really, really excited and a little bit nervous about the guests we have on. So next Tuesday, I have on Chris and Roseanne. Chris is the Chief Executive of New Anglia Enterprise. They think we bring you this. And Roseanne is the COO. So they'll be talking about how do you boost an economy. Not the easiest questions to ask, but I think that will be some fantastic insight. And then on the Thursday, we have Pam Davis, who is a fashion model, entrepreneur, all round amazing person, and I'm quite jealous because she knows Holly and Phil from this morning as well. So definitely tune in next week to get an insight into how do you boost an economy, and also how do you get into the fashion industry. So two very different ones. So looking forward to seeing you next week.